Welcome back to my channel. I am G Joy. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to determine the neckline of an off shoulder and also how to draft an off shoulder basic sleeve. For an off shoulder neckline, you will need a shoulder measurement. So the shoulder here is 14. So to determine the neckline is shoulder divided by 2. 14 divided by 2 will give us 7, and then add same allowance of 0.5, and that will be 7.5. So if it were to be a regular shoulder, you would have marked 7.5 on your pattern paper or on the fabric. But because it is off shoulder, you are going to subtract 2 from that. So 7.5 minus 2 is going to give us 5.5. So on fold, we mark 5.5 on your pattern paper or on your fabric, so that after sewing, you are going to have 5 on fold, and by the time you open it up, you are going to have 10 as the neck opening of the off shoulder. You are going to have 10, and then another thing that you need to take note of for an off shoulder is that you can actually determine the neckline that you want for your off shoulder. Okay, you can determine how wide. This is where 10 is. So this is how wide the neckline, the off shoulder opening is going to be. And then you are going to mark across chest. We can also use across chest. This is across chest. Across chest we have 12. So across chest 12, you divide that, you subtract 2 from that, you have 10, and then you add same allowance of 0.5, and that will also give you 5.5. So either you use a shoulder or you use the across chest measurements. One more time, if you are using your shoulder, you divide shoulder by 2, and then you add same allowance, and then you subtract 2. Shoulder divided by 2 plus same allowance. Whatever you get, you subtract 2, and that will give you the wideness of the neckline, the off shoulder neckline. If you are going to use the across chest, if you are using the across chest, it will be across chest minus 2. Across chest minus 2, and then divided by 2 plus same allowance. So the across chest here is 12. 12 minus 2 will give us 10. By the time we fold the fabric into 2, we are going to have 5. And then we add our same allowance, which will give us 5.5. Don't get confused. If you are using the shoulder measurement, you want to take our shoulder measurement. For this is 14. And if you put that on fold, if you put it on fold, you are going to have 7. And then you are going to add same allowance, which will give us 7.5. So to the 7.5, you subtract 2 because it's an off shoulder, and that will give you 5.5. So after sewing, you are going to have 10. Now the next thing is to determine the off shoulder sleeve. To determine the off shoulder sleeve, you need the across circumference like this. Okay, so for her it is 40. Then let's take your tape, measure across like this, across like this. That will give us 40. Okay, so we have 40, and remember that the across chest for the front we ended with 10. So we have 10 here, then we also have 10 at the back. So 10 plus 10 here will give us 20. So you subtract 20 from the 40, and that will give us 20. Now we are going to be having 2 sleeves, so that 20 you divide it by 2, so that we have 10 on this side and we have 10 on this side. So So to now fold your fabric 10 like this, is going to come like this. You see it's going to come like this. So this 10, we're now going to now divide it by 2. So to unfold to our sleeve, we will now put 5 unfold. We will mark 5 inches. I'm going to be teaching us how to draft it. We will mark 5 inches and then we'll add seam allowance of 0.5. So I'll show us how to draft that, but I'll just explain again. So by the time you have the sleeve we get to this place. Let me just mark it so that we'll now see widening the chest line is like that. So this is where the sleeve is going to stop for her, which is this place. The sleeve will stop there. I'll also mark the point at the back. Then we'll do the same thing for this other side. We'll mark the front and the back. Okay, the front is here. And then the back is here. So, I hope you can see my chalk marking. This is one here and this is one here. So by the time you measure it, okay. So you see that the 10 will be okay. And then for the front, we have a mark here, and we have a mark here, from here to here. You see that it gives us 10. So by the time you now have 10, that is 20, and you now have another 10 here, 10 here. Let me remind this again. So you have 10 here, from here to here, you have 10. And then from there to here, okay, this is a 10 mark here. Sorry, which is here. So from here to here, see that is correct. So you also have 10. And you see that from here to here is 10. Okay, let me just use a marker to mark that so that we can see it very well. Here to here to here. That is the wideness of the back, 10. And then from here to this side is where the sleeve will be. The sleeve is going to be 10. So from there, this is where you have 10. Okay, and then from this other side as well, from here, that is where the sleeve will be. From here to here. So from here to here, let's see what it is. You see that it is 10. So that is how to determine it. So you see that for this customer, 10 here plus 10 at the back will give us 20. And then we took the around the body was 40. You subtract the 20 from 40, you have 20. So because it's going to be 2 sleeves, you divide that 20 by 2. So you have 10 for this side and 10 for this side. So your fabric is going to be on fold. So that 10, you now divide it into 2 to put your fabric on fold. So that is how to determine the neckline. So let's go to the drafting table now and draft the off shoulder sleeve. Welcome back. For this off shoulder sleeve, we are going to be using this to draft the pattern, and then the measurements that we are going to be working with, we are going to be working with across chest of 46, across chest 46. And then in our previous class, this was the off shoulder that we drafted. We drafted this off shoulder pattern. So let's see what the across chest and across back will be. So this is without seam allowance. I have 14. So we'll use half inch to join this place. We'll use half inch to join here, and we'll use half inch to join here, and that will now remain 13. So it means that the across chest, for what I've explained using the dummy, it means that the across chest here is now 13, and it will be the same thing for the back. So the front is 13, the back is 13. So across chest, we have 13 for the front. For the back, we also have 13. So 13 plus 13 will give us 26. And then the across shoulder, across the shoulder measurement, I've already shown us how to do that. Across the shoulder measurement is 46. So if you subtract 46 from 26, you are going to have 20. So this 20 is what we need for the sleeve. Remember that it's going to have 2 sleeves. So this 20, from the explanation we've done, this 20 will divide it by 2. So it means that one sleeve will be 10. The other sleeve will also be 10. So to put, we are using here as our starting point. The 10 on fold will be 5. This is on fold. On fold, we are going to have 5, and then plus 0.5 inch seam allowance, because we need seam allowance to join it to this other one. So we will mark 5.5. Another measurement that we need is the bicep circumference. The bicep circumference that we are working with, which is the around arm, is 14. And then the sleeve round we are working with is 11.5. And then the sleeve length we are working with is 6. This is what we mean. This is an off shoulder. So to make the off shoulder sleeve, after determining the distance here, which we said it is 5, we also determine our bicep. We measure our bicep round like this, and we have 14. And then we determine the sleeve length of the off shoulder. We determine the sleeve length, where the sleeve length is going to end. For this one, the sleeve length is 6. The point that the sleeve length is going to end, you take the sleeve round. You take the sleeve round. Okay? At that point that the sleeve is going to end, you take the sleeve round. So you take the first one, you take the bicep round, which is 14, and then you take the sleeve round. you take the sleeve round. The sleeve round here is 12. So let's say sleeve round is 12. So these are the measurements we are working. We are working with across chest, across shoulder 46. The across front is 13. The across back is 13. 13 plus 13 will give us 26. Take 26 from 46, we have 20. So it is 20 we need for the sleeve. We are going to be dividing it by 2 because it is 2 sleeves. We will have 10. Because we are going to be folding our fabric or part of the fabric into 2, we divide the 10 by 2, we have 5. Then we need seam allowance. So we mark the 5 and then we also add our seam allowance. Then the bicep circumference that we are working with is 14. This 14 we divide it by 2 and we are going to have 7. So we just mark 7. We mark 7 here. Of course, we also need the same. We also need seam allowance. Let's say seam allowance of 1.5. Okay, and then we need the sleeve length. The sleeve length you are working with is 6. Now we also need seam allowance for this sleeve length, so we are going to be using 2 inches. So I'll mark 8 as the total length. 8. So first of all, I'm going to cut out this 8 and then show you what next to do. So this is 8. From here to here, you see 8, and our sleeve length is 6. So at that 6 mark point, we are going to fold. If you watch my pattern how to cut this sleeve, I showed you the reason why we needed to fold this place before we mark the sleeve round. So we fold it like this and then we now mark the sleeve round. The sleeve round is 12. If you want it tight, you can remove half from that. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. Mark 6. And then the same allowance that you gave here, 1.5, you also give it here. Okay. So from this point, remember that there's going to be a curve. So you just connect. You can use your French curve to connect the line to pass through these 7 mark points. Okay, you can use a French curve for that. That is for this curve. After joining this curve is what we are talking about. So you can put the front pattern. You can put the front pattern armhole at that point, so that both of them will be the same. You can use the front pattern armhole like this. And just simply mark. You see that? Okay. Because this one that we did 5 inches off. So if you want to determine the sleeve length, the armhole length that we used for this was 10. That was the bust. The bust that we worked with was 40. 40 divided by 4 was 10. So this is off shoulder and it's 5 inches off. So put your tape like this to determine where this armhole will stop. So like this. This is where you have 10. Okay. Or you simply use this one like I said before to mark it. Use this one to mark it. see that this is where we have 10, and then we now have seam allowance. So this is, we are no longer using this, so we are going to use this because the armhole length is off shoulder, 5 inches off. So you now continue, and then you have your 10, and then you now mark your 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inch will now be here. So it is from this point you connect to the sleeve round that you mark, this 6 inches sleeve round. So you connect it like this, and then you also connect the seam allowance like this. Okay, so to know how much to put on fold, you use the bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch allowance. Bust divided by 4 is 10 plus 1 inch, you now have 11. That is how to know how much to put on fold. So let's cut it and see what it looks like. This is cardboard, so a bit hard. I'm going to cut this one after the other. Okay, and we'll now cut your books. So this is our off shoulder sleeve, so that this is like this. So we now connect the off shoulder like this. You need to come here. See, you're able to come here. This part we connect the back. So see the reason why we needed to fold this down, so that when you want to sew, remember that you first of all fold it half and then you fold again. So after folding again, there will be no shortage here and no shortage here. There will be no shortage here and here. So this is our off shoulder sleeve. So when you are sewing, you sew here. Okay. So our off shoulder will now be like this. You see that? And then the front will continue here. You see that? That is how our off shoulder will be. So it's the basic off shoulder sleeve. So we have come to the end of this video. I hope you find this video helpful.